bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. Yay!
In May next month, I'll be 67, and I'll be then in my 65th year with diabetes.
I got diabetes when I was 5 years old, and I'm now almost 14.
My little girl was diagnosed with diabetes at 11 months, and she's a year and a half now.
I was diagnosed at 12 with type 1 diabetes and have had it for 15 years now.
Well, I don't really know anything different. I was diagnosed when I was 2.
It wasn't real common, and everybody considered you sick. And I never considered myself to be sick or even to have a disease. I considered it more of an inconvenience. I do have memories of when I first was diagnosed, and then the original treatment, which was starvation diets. And I was hungry all the time. And I remember when my mother said to me, if you want to have more to eat, we can give you shots and you'll be able to have more to eat.
I remember in the hospital being so overwhelmed. I knew that diabetes isn't something you can take a pill and be cured, but I had no idea how much we had to manage every hour of her life.
It was a heavy metal needle, and it was used constantly. You never changed your needle. We used to have to sharpen it occasionally. We would get wires from the drugstore, and we would run a wire through the needle to unclog it in case anything clogged it up. And then periodically, about every 30 days or so, my mother would boil them up, she said.
I took shots until I was 7, and I got on a pump, and it was a Cosmo. I had a cord.
This is the Omnipod insulin pump. We tape it on to keep it on. Otherwise, when she's being her active self, it comes right off.
Yeah, if I remember right, I was the youngest person in northern Nevada to receive a pump, so I had to go through, and doctors had to prove that I could take care of myself and figure out how to use it. And saw a couple different doctors and a dietitian and things like that, but ever since I've had it, there's no looking back.
I'm a big advocate of insulin pumps. I don't use one myself because the doctors I have wouldn't recommend me for one. They said since I've lived so long doing it the way I'm doing it, I might as well keep doing it that way.
Before I had my insulin pump, I would eat on a regular basis, so in the morning, you'd have to have basically the same things for breakfast. You'd have a snack at 10 o'clock in the morning. You'd have to have lunch at the same times, and then you'd have to have dinner at the same times, just so that you could keep your day the same every day, because your insulin you couldn't change. And with the pump, it's completely different.
Yeah, when I was diagnosed, you were on a schedule, basically. You were on a strict schedule, and whether you wanted to eat at a certain time or you didn't want to eat at a certain time, you were eating at a certain time.
In those early days, I took one shot a day, and I would say I did that for about 50 years.
And now, with the pump, I eat when I want to eat, I correct when I need to correct, I do everything.
We get up every night to check her and make sure she doesn't go too low or too high. Her teething or when she's sick really changes how much insulin she needs.
It's sad for me when I see little kids with diabetes, and I know that I once went through it, and they'll get through it, and hopefully by the time they're grown up, they'll have a cure as well.
nobody really knows. I don't want a sob story from anybody. I take care of myself. I don't feel like I'm any worse than anybody else that takes care of themselves.
It made me a stronger person. It made me realize that you need to take care of yourself, and it makes me realize how precious every moment is.
When I was unable to eat and they weighed my food and I had to lick my plate to get everything I could off of it, I think of how my mother must have felt about that, you know.
My parents have always been there for me in the up times and down times, and it's very hard on them as well.
My parents, of course, have just been the rock behind everything. I think that they've taken on diabetes as their own as well. You know, they got involved with JDRF so that they could show us that we needed to be advocates.
Their support means a lot. It shows that they care about things that happen to us, and they care about other people in the community. It's not only me, it's every little kid with diabetes.
Nobody knows what it's like to live with diabetes unless you've lived with it. All anybody else can do is just be there to support you.
Our friends and family didn't always know what we were going through. So it's so great to talk to other people that have gone through the same things. And even now that we have some experience, we can talk to people who are just now finding out that a loved one has diabetes. So the JDRF is awesome.
JDRF has been like a family. I mean, all of us know each other, and all the kids have grown up together that I've grown up with, and now I watch the little kids and I get excited for them.
When we were in the hospital and we got that bag of hope, reading the books, going on the website, and meeting other people that are living with this and living great lives with this is so encouraging.
That the way that I live and the way that I'm able to do things and live my life is a big thanks to everybody out there that does support the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, and the advancements that they've come up with will not only help me, but every kid like me in the future from here on out.
Oh, there's a lot of hope. Anybody who's lived as long as I've lived with it is testimony to the fact that there's plenty of hope.
It is a hope and a dream that someday there will be a cure.
But yeah, that's my favorite one. The one where she's totally cured.
I often get upset because unlike the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation, which promotes a cure, most of the research has gone toward treatment, and I always thought, I know how to treat it. I want to get rid of it.
I like people to know that people with diabetes are normal, but also that life is harder, and that with their support, they can help people with diabetes live longer, live better.
You know, type 1 diabetes is something that nobody did to themselves. It's nothing that any parent did to their child. I've heard that over, people's guilt about that they gave their child type 1 diabetes. They didn't. It's something that just was given to us, and something that is going to make us stronger in the end as people and individuals, and makes it part of who we are and what we become in life.
But I was always told by the doctors that I couldn't play sports. You were supposed to kind of sit over and vegetate someplace, and I just never liked that idea, and frankly, I used exercise and sports as a way to burn my blood sugar.
Life's great. Diabetes is not holding me back.
I can work all day long, and sometimes 12, 14 hours a day, and it doesn't hold me back from doing what I want to do or things that I need to get done.
Because diabetes is so well managed, I think a lot of people don't realize how serious it can be.
I have a job, I'm happy, I'm healthy. I've only been in the hospital one time when I was diagnosed, so it's not bad. I don't look at life as a bad thing. I don't get up in the morning and say, oh man, now I have to deal with this all over again.
Life's great. Life is beautiful. Yeah, I'm very blessed. I've had a real nice life. And diabetes added to it, subtracted from it sometimes, but didn't bother it.
The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. Yay!